Welcome to Rock Your Block and today's segment of This and That with Ernestine. I am your host, Ernestine Wilson. It is my pleasure to spend time with my guest today because I've known him his entire life. He is currently a student at Johnson & Wales University in Charlotte, North Carolina. Culinary arts and food service management is his major. That's why we are in the studio that has a kitchen. Our aspiring chef is going to create 2 dishes that you are going to love making at home. Welcome an inspiring young man who happens to be my godson, who is following his dream. Hello, Jeremiah. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, and hello, Ernestine.
Well, so tell us what you're going to make for us today.
I'm going to be making a mushroom risotto and a pan roasted chicken.
So describe to us what risotto is.
It's an Italian dish. It consists of rice that's cooked over a long period of time, and I'm adding brown mushrooms to it. And you typically add creamy stuff like cheese and butter, etc. to it. It's a very tasty dish, and it's not too hard to make, but it can be challenging if it's your first time attempting it.
Okay. So we are smelling something that is making everybody hungry. What is this?
This is just a pan sauce, a chicken pan sauce, to accompany the chicken that I'm making.
Okay, great. And we're going to be stirring this
over the course of the
while
demonstration, yes.
While we're doing the risotto?
Yes.
Okay, great. So let's get started. What's the first thing you do with the risotto?
All right, so the first thing is I'm going to have you cut this onion. I guess I can get you started. So simply, we're just going to...
I need to move in this way.
Cut this off. And then we're going to cut this in half.
So you're thinking I don't know how to cut an onion, huh?
Oh, my bad. Okay.
No.
Go ahead and show us.
Are we talking little?
Try and get a mince, get as small as you can, if you know how.
Maybe we should have brought one of those little squash things where you just put.
Yeah.
Is this all we need to cut?
Yeah, I think you can just get away with half for now.
Okay, I'll cut that off.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So
and I'll get set up with the rest of the stuff we need.
Okay. So go ahead.
For this, we're going to do 1 tablespoon of butter and 1 tablespoon of olive oil.
All right. And you mentioned that, go ahead.
Okay.
The risotto is easy to make, but you can mess it up the first time. And what would someone have to do to...
Well, the biggest thing that people don't do is watch the risotto. Like they might go off and do other things, which you can do with some dishes. But for risotto, I would recommend just staying there the entire time and watch it. And it does take some time, but if you pay attention, it'll be fine.
And you are watching it just to make sure that
you don't burn it, basically. You're going to be cooking it for a long time.
Okay.
So you can eyeball.
And how long is it going to be cooking?
Typically, it doesn't take longer than 20 minutes for the entire process to be completed.
Okay. So tell us what you're doing now.
So we're just going to melt the butter and olive oil in the pan. It's already been heating up for a bit.
Okay.
And then once you're done with the onion, I'm not rushing you. So once you're finished cutting it up, we're going to put it into the pan.
This is not going to be minced, okay?
Just do the best you can. Watch your fingers.
So I'm not having a good time doing this. Did I mess it up completely?
No, you're fine.
How about if you start over with this one?
Okay.
And I will I'll stir this. Does this need to be stirring?
I guess you can.
The butter and the olive oil?
Yeah, I guess turn down the heat just a little bit.
Okay.
While I finish this.
All right. This is getting to be interesting. So tell us about school. Can you cut and tell us about...
All right. So as you mentioned, I'm in Johnson & Wales University. I'm on the Charlotte campus. It's actually a pretty small campus, but it's really nice. There's not even a football team there. I think the Rhode Island campus though has one, and I have enjoyed my time there. I've only been 2 semesters, so about a year, but I've had a great time. All my professors have been very nice and very helpful, and of course they know what they're doing. Goes without saying. I've learned so much, and I've improved so much since I've been there. I've only taken 4 classes. The classes are about 6 to 7 hours long, so I go from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. and it's just learning different techniques. The basics, we're just doing the basics so far. And I'm learning more than just how to cook. I'm learning the very basics of management, how to open a restaurant or how to run a restaurant, what you need.
We're switching now?
Yep. So I guess I'll just bring the pen over here real quick.
Okay.
Sorry to reach over you.
Sure. And so you have classes now mostly in culinary skills?
Yeah, I've already done my academics, the English, math, science, etc. But right now, I'm just taking cooking classes. I just finished breakfast and lunch. Breakfast and lunch and basic stewing, braising, stuff like that. All right, I'm gonna turn the heat back up. And we're just gonna saute the onions a bit. We're not gonna brown them. Just get them translucent. You should smell it, and it should just change colors to like a light yellow, light pale color. So about 3 minutes, maybe 5.
So that's translucent.
Yeah, you just don't want to brown.
Yellow color.
Kinda, yeah. You just don't want to brown.
Okay. So you were telling us about your classes.
Yes.
You're doing the cooking part of the curriculum now, but before that, if I'm coming to Johnson & Wales as a new student, I would have to take basic courses, basic university courses, just like you do.
You have to take 1 science, 1 math. Actually, no, it's 2 sciences, 1 math. You have to get like 4 English credits, and then there's like I forget the name, but it's just kind of like a class that has random stuff that you can take. I took an economics class to fill that credit, and so I'm done with my academics completely, and I'm just focusing on cooking.
Well, cooking is still academics, right? Because
arithmetic, I guess is the word.
You mean more like the reading and writing and arithmetic, and not really arithmetic. It's more science, isn't it?
I'm done with that stuff, so it's just the cooking focus now.
Okay. And so what happens with the risotto next?
Okay, so I'm going to let this go for 1 more minute, but next we're going to add the rice and start toasting that.
Okay.
All right.
Now, in your classes, how many people are in your classes? On the average?
Usually about 15 on average. I don't think it goes above 20. The kitchens that we work in are pretty big, but yeah, you don't want too many cooks in the kitchen. So just to go back for the rice, we are using arborio rice. It can hold a lot of liquid, and when it holds that liquid, it keeps very nice texture, so it's kind of al dente, like when you eat pasta. If you use other rice, like jasmine, it's just gonna take all that all that liquid and become mushy. So stick with arborio. You can also use carnario rice. But yeah, you can't just use any rice for risotto, otherwise you're just gonna have a pile of mush.
Oh, so that's one of the issues that people have.
Yeah,
could have if they don't know better.
Right. So it's not that hard. You can find this at any store, pretty much. You can get that at Shoppers or Giant. All right. So I think this is enough. We're just gonna add in the rice.
Okay.
I usually do about 1 cup and 1/4 or a cup, whatever you feel comfortable with the rice. And for this part, we're just trying to toast it, get it all covered in the fat, the butter and oil that we put in here. And so just keep stirring constantly, try to get every grain covered in fat and toast it in the heat a little bit. Careful not to make a mess.
It's just 1 little grain of rice. We can deal with that. And so after the toasting, you are going to add liquids.
Yes, so I do have white wine I'm using. Don't use like red wine, use a white wine for this. Anything like the Sauvignon Blanc, that's what I have here. You can also use a Pinot Noir, but just any wine that you have. You don't need to get anything fancy, because we're just going to use it to deglaze the pan, and it adds flavor. And if you want, you can just use water to deglaze.
So you can't even taste the wine in the food, like in most foods.
You're not gonna like taste straight up wine, but it does add a little more flavor in the long run.
Okay.
But deglazing helps get anything that's stuck at the bottom of the pot lifted up, and then you're just gonna scrape it off, and that's flavor that you're gonna lose if you don't.
So that's why you have that type pan. Actually, what type pans are these?
These are copper pans. These are just copper's nice.
Just regular copper?
Yeah, copper's nice. Not too expensive, but it's just a really nice looking pan. And it's very good for not sticking.
Nice looking. What about for the food?
Yeah, it helps with not sticking as well.
Okay.
And inducting, because like inducting heat.
We need to
Put that
to stir this, right?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for reminding me.
Is it stirred enough, or do we need
Just
to
keep it stirring, so because if you don't, it's gonna congeal. So we just want to keep the heat on.
And what is this? It smells so good.
So a pan sauce is basically taking the liquid of meats or vegetables that have been cooking, then you add stock to it, and you thicken it up with the roux or something to make a sauce out of it. So that's literally just the juices from cooked chicken, some chicken stock, and then some seasoning to make a sauce.
And this sauce is with the baked chicken, and you just pour it over the baked chicken?
Yeah, you can just pour it over.
Okay. That sounds good.
All right, so I think that's toasted enough, so we're just gonna add some wine. I would just say at the most half a cup.
Okay.
But you can just do around 1/4, get away with 1/4.
So you don't need a cup, you can just...
I think you can eyeball it, just don't go crazy. Or maybe you had a bad day. But yeah, make sure you're scraping the bottom of the pan, but don't use a metal spoon. If you're doing that, use a wooden spoon or a plastic silicone, because you don't want to scrape your pan.
And then what goes next?
So
in this pot?
This is the process I was referring to when I said watch it. Over the course of the next 15-20 minutes, you're going to repeatedly add stock to this. I'm using chicken stock, and obviously this is rice, so it's going to need a lot of liquid. Otherwise, it's going to just be hard and crunchy. So you're going to take a ladle. I'm going to bring it over here. Add just 1 or 2 ladlefuls, because this is a smaller one.
It's sizzling.
Yep, and then you're going to sit here and let the rice absorb all the liquid. Don't just keep adding at once. We're making we're making risotto, not pilaf. So just do a spoonful at a time. Let it take in all the liquid, and then once it's gone, add another spoonful, and just keep going until the rice is no longer hard, basically.
So from here, we essentially just let this...
That's the thing, but you need to watch it, because if you don't and you go away and the rice takes all the liquid, then you're just going to have burnt rice on the pan if you're not watching it.
So it has all the ingredients that are needed to finish the cooking?
Not yet. There is still stuff over here, but we don't add that till the end of the process. So for now, just focus on adding the stock to the pan. I say do 1 if you have a big ladle, but this is a spoon, so 2, 3 will be fine.
Okay.
But
so while this is simmering, I guess? Is that simmering?
Yeah,
What is
I
it?
guess you can say simmering.
What do you call it?
Simmering.
Okay. We're gonna take a quick break.
Okay.
And when we come back, we'll finish this and also get some chicken.
Okay.
How's that?
Sounds good.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cook foods to the right temperature using a food thermometer. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
So we are continuing with the risotto,
Yes, ma'am.
and it is the water is being absorbed,
Yep.
not burned. We had a maybe thought it was going to be, but we're good.
Yep. So the stock, if you can see the rice, it is pumped up a lot. It's gotten a lot bigger. So we're just gonna keep adding the stock to it. Again, try not to make a mess. Probably better to use a bigger spoon than what I am. So we're pretty much almost out of stock, and once that happens, we're gonna finish it off. So when you make risotto, most of the time you add cheese. I would recommend shredded, but I have grated here, and we're gonna just add that in as well as the mushrooms. Actually, I think it'd be fine just to add the mushrooms now, even though it's in a container. I did wash these prior. Make sure you wash your produce, even if you did get in a package. So I'm not gonna add a lot.
Those are portobello.
It's shiitake, actually.
Oh,
Just
okay.
shiitake. And even though these look big, they're gonna shrink up when they cook and get all the moisture out of them.
Okay,
Now, should we talk about the chicken next, or
go ahead. We're still
stir in the sauce?
right.
Yeah. But for the chicken, it's just a very simple seared chicken. I put salt, pepper.
Excuse me, what kind of chicken?
I seared it.
Oh, you seared it. Okay.
Yeah, so that's just bone-in thighs, and I put salt, pepper, and garlic powder on it. And I seared it on both sides, and then I finished it in the oven.
Excuse me. Can you explain what searing is?
Basically, you're trying to trap the flavor of the seasoning on the chicken.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's why it has that color on it. We're just trying to get that color. That's the only reason why I did it in the pan. So you put it in the pan first, get the nice color and the crust on it, and then you finish cooking it in the oven so it's evenly cooked on the inside.
Okay, so you season it
Yep.
first.
Yep.
And the seasonings that you put on it were what?
Salt, pepper, and garlic powder.
That's it.
Yeah, don't need to do anything fancy. I mean, it tastes really good, and I was just trying to keep things simple.
That's always best. Well, sometimes it is. It's good. So once this is ready, in your opinion, about how long do you stir this? What's this process?
It's pretty. It's actually finished. It was just stirring it to keep it from burning, and if you keep it cold, it's gonna congeal because this does have fat in it from when I made the chicken. So you're just literally just keeping it from burning.
There's something that looks oily here.
There was oil. It did break a little because I did leave it cold for too long, a little too long.
Uh-huh.
So that's what breaking is. Basically, the fat separates from so that's why it kind of looks like that.
Uh-huh.
It'll still be edible, but you can see the oil obviously there.
But what, can you taste it, or do you just scoop
You
this
want
part
taste it.
out?
No, that part is actually the sauce, so you can taste the oil, but not like a lot.
Okay, so it's not like you're
Yeah, it's not like
ingesting grease.
no, it's not like ingesting grease.
Okay. Now, tell me how you became passionate, or when actually did you become passionate about cooking? Because I didn't even know about it until like maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
So I did a lot of cooking at home, but I never really thought about making it into a career choice. But I used to do volunteer work at an organization called AmeriCorps, and we would travel all over the country just helping people out who needed it. But we worked as a team, and we lived together for a while, so we had to make our own meals. And nobody on the team really liked cooking or knew how to, so I kind of made all dinners.
For how many people?
There was only like 6 other people on the team.
That's enough.
So yeah, I made all the dinners, and one person suggested I try a culinary school because I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And I took that into consideration, and I applied to several institutions, and I got into Johnson & Wales, and I made the choice to go there.
Well, it's interesting that you would make that last comment, because I see a lot of press about young adults now who are trying to decide what school to attend, and a lot of them are attending technical places, technical schools. your school, though, is a university,
Right.
but you're still learning a trade.
Yes.
So what do you plan to do after you have graduated?
Once I graduate, I'm going immediately into the workforce. Johnson & Wales has programs to help you basically find a job, and once you finish graduating or once you graduate. There are several places I want to work at. I've applied to a place in New Orleans to work at, or I'm looking to apply there. I've always wanted to work at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's a
I
very
remember you telling me that.
it's a big tourist spot. Obviously, they have a lot of great restaurants there, and I've always wanted to work there. Also, a lot about traveling overseas.
Well, 1 second. Why Caesar's Palace?
I've never been to Las Vegas before, but it just has a lot of amazing high-end restaurants, and I think would be, once I become a great enough chef, I would love to work there because that's where like some of the best talented chefs in the world work.
Oh, I see.
Right.
So what will be your specialty?
I enjoy making curry a lot, so I'll probably have that as a specialty, but I'll have to figure out something to make it my own recipe. I make bunch of different curries, like Southeast Asian or just Japanese curry. So something that'll, I guess, stand out, but it's still good.
And see, what is the difference between like a Japanese curry and an Asian curry?
Mostly just the curry powder that's made. Southeast Asian just has a lot of more different ingredients, like there's red chili powder, which is a different kind of chili powder than what Americans use. They utilize cumin, cardamom, stuff like that more. Fenugreek, that's Indian, not really Japanese. You use that in that type of curry. And it's just, and Japanese curry tends to be a little bit sweeter. Like I know they use apples sometimes in their curry.
Really?
Yeah.
I never knew that, and sometimes I make curry, so I'm going to try that. But I don't think I know how to do Japanese curry.
Well, maybe I can show you sometime. I don't know. All right,
Okay.
so this is pretty much done. We're done with the stock, and it's fully cooked up. So
Okay.
next we're going to just add the cheese. So for this part, we're just going to add in a lot. Don't hesitate. It's supposed to be creamy.
That's grated cheese?
Yeah, this is grated. Again, shredded would be better, but I only had grated on me at the time.
That's grated
Parmesan.
Asiago?
Yeah, Parmesan is what you usually use.
Okay.
And we're just gonna stir it in because risotto should be like very creamy. It's not to be cheesy necessarily, but it should be very creamy. Otherwise, you're kind of just eating mushrooms and rice. So yeah, don't hesitate to put in a lot.
Okay. And then you're still going to add the other Parmesan?
Yeah, so that's a shaved cheese, and that's just a garnish that you put on top to make
Okay.
it look nice.
Okay.
And
And
You
the
can-
other items that are over there are also garnished?
yes, I
Yeah.
have some parsley. I'm using Italian or curly parsley that I already cut up.
Okay.
And I also am going to add, we can turn off the heat now actually. For this part, we're going to be adding
Can
butter.
we turn off the heat for this too?
Yep, I actually already had that turned off.
Okay.
So this is called a beurre or beurre. And that's basically when you add butter to a finished product. It adds a little bit of a nice color to it, glossy shine. Sometimes when making risotto, people will use mascarpone, which is a fatty cheese, kind of like cream cheese, in order to add more flavor and a creamier texture to the risotto. But it can be a little pricey, so we're going to be using butter instead, butter and Parmesan, just to keep it simple.
Okay.
And
So can you, what else? You were going to mention something else? We need to,
yeah, I got you.
we're being a little messy, right?
Okay.
So we're about ready for that, right?
Yep. Yeah, with this, it's pretty much finished. So we're just gonna plate it, make it look nice before serving.
Okay.
Yeah,
So we're going to take a quick break. Quick break.
very quick.
Plate it up, taste it, and we'll let everyone know what it's like.
Okay.
How do you know? No cages, no crates, no tie stalls, no painful living conditions. How do you know? No hormones or antibiotics in feed. How can you know? Your choice is wholesome and humane. Did you know choosing natural foods raised in humane conditions promotes farm animal well-being as well as yours and your family? Choose Certified Humane. Certified Humane certification and labeling program assures customers that when they purchase products with the Certified Humane logo, those animals were raised healthy and humanely. When you choose Certified Humane, everyone benefits. For more information about Certified Humane and its benefits to animals, farmers, and consumers, visit their website at www.certifiedhumane.org. That's www.certifiedhumane.org.
Well, it's time to taste this delicious food.
All right.
Risotto and baked chicken.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So the mushroom risotto is all done. We're just going to garnish it. I have some Italian parsley over here. I already minced it up, so you won't get to see that, but just going to add it to brighten it up a little bit, add some color. I also have the shaved cheese, which I mentioned earlier. And then for the chicken, I'll just take this piece right here.
Okay. And now I get my sauce
Yes, ma'am.
on the chicken,
Yeah, we can
and I
put it.
get to taste it.
Yes, ma'am. All right. I won't do too much.
You did what?
I said I won't do too much, but just let me know.
Okay. So
That little baby fork.
I know this is the baby fork. I cut a little piece over here, and I am going to, since it's mine, I can pull it with my fingers, and I'm a little bit country anyway, so
Okay.
I'm going to do it like this. Okay?
All right.
Tastes better than it smells. That
Thank you.
is wonderful. Well, Jeremiah, our time is up. It's been fun. The food was delicious. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And our time is up. If you have any questions about how to contact our special guest, Jeremiah Butler, please see the information scrolling below. Thank you for watching Rock Your Block and today's segment of This and That with Ernestine. See you next time.